What's up, guys? Welcome to Daily Dose of Reddit. This is your host, Zach, and today's subreddit is r/IDontWorkHereLady. This story's called Guy Follows Us Around. Back in May, my friend/coworker and I had an overlapping day off. It didn't happen much since she tended to work the mid-shifts or closing while I worked openings or closings, so we were happy to take full advantage of it. We'd planned a few days prior to it since the manager was bad to shift days around or suddenly decide she was sick and call one or both of us in. I was the assistant, so I tended to be called first. So any plans we made before the actual day of were tentative at best. We settled on going to McDonald's in fancy clothes because nothing seemed more fun than dolling up to eat McNuggets. Around 1, she stopped by my house and the two of us looked like we were going out to some high-class steakhouse. She was wearing faux pearls and a black ruffle skirt with a cute top while I wore one of those shawl-type dresses in lilac. It was a fun lunch and a nice break from retail hell. After we finished off our fries, she asked if there was anywhere else we could go. Why not the craft store?
Oh yeah, I have a coupon for some canvases and I really want to start painting again.
She has such a cute little girl voice. We head out to the shop that's right across from where we work. Now, we're still dressed nice, and the store's uniform are a shade of green with black or khaki pants. They also wore aprons or vests with the store's name somewhere on them, plus name badges. We walk in to see that they still have some of their spring merchandise, which included bubble wands. The two of us may have been 20-somethings, but you can't tell me some of you wouldn't jump at the chance to get 20 bubble wands for $5. And I'm talking the big ones. So we start grabbing them and looking for a basket. The clerk near us was grinning and shaking her head. We cleared them out with plans to hit up the park down the street after this. So once we left the display empty, we headed towards the back where they kept the canvases. There was some sign on the door saying something about the spring sale. So we figured we'd find her stuff, then work our way around the store. This was when I noticed a man a few aisles over looking at some glass jars. He looked at me and kinda half waved. I smiled and looked away as we kept walking. Now, the whole time, the two of us are talking about everything from her obsession with Pokemon Go, to my cats doing something stupid, to a discussion about us heading into the slow season at our store. The conversation is peppered with wildly inappropriate words we'd never use in our own store. I think we actually made a couple genital jokes about the fake flowers in aisle past the glass jars. So we find the canvases at the main back of the store, and I don't know anything about them. I draw either in sketchbooks or digitally. I also don't paint. Too messy. But my friend is scoping them out while I hold the bubble wands. I notice the guy around the corner and look around. When he sees us, he puffs up his chest and makes a rush towards us. I don't like people. I've learned how to handle them as the assistant manager in my job because I'm paid to. Outside of work, I'm happy just floating through existence with minimal interaction. Which isn't to say I'm outright rude. I respond to greetings by other clerks or if someone asks me if I could reach something off of a shelf or an opinion on an item. But I don't linger. I respond, tell them to have a good day, and walk off. This guy had that intense look in his eye as he stopped right in front of us.
Hey, there you went.
Hi? I'm wondering at this moment if I know the guy. We see all sorts in our store, so it's possible he recognizes me, but I don't him.
It was rude of you to just run off when I waved at you.
Well, we needed to find the canvases. I gestured to my friend, who turned around. She was wearing a lanyard for her keys because she's the kind of person who will leave them in the ignition or on her seat while the car then locks. And we did, so.
Well, I need your help picking out a vase for my wife. I figure a girl is better at it than I am.
We both look at him. He is an older guy, so we assume he's an older generation sexist. But being as semi-nice as she is, my friend opts to help him. So we go back to the glasses where she picks out a very nice one for him and we start to head off.
Oh, one more thing, girls. Can you tell me where the watercolor paints are?
No, sorry, but there's a service desk right there. You can ask someone there.
Guy's face shifts into something irritated. He huffs,
Why do I have to ask them when the two of you are standing right here? Why can't you just show me?
Because we don't know where they are?
Well, it's good you're honest about not paying attention to your store, but that's a poor excuse for an employee.
My friend and I both look at each other, then back at him.
We don't work here, sir.
Then why are you wearing one of those badgy things, huh?
And he turned to me.
And where's yours?
You mean my key lanyard? This has my keys.
Guy rolled his eyes.
Yeah, right. I'm going to ask for the manager and report you.
Okay, but they'll tell you that we don't work here.
And we walked away. We wandered towards the other half of the store while he headed for the desk. We figured it would be solved until about 5 minutes later. The guy came around the corner and stopped to smile at us with smug satisfaction.
I talked to your manager and he wants you to come to the front right now.
It reminded me of a kid telling on someone else, then bragging how the teacher was going to punish them.
We don't have to go anywhere. We don't work here.
Not for long, you won't.
I was trying to figure out why this guy wasn't understanding that we were shoppers. We looked nothing like the workers in the store, and even if we did, clearly our dress at the time would have said we were off the clock. Not many people I've met who work the floor in retail come in wearing their good dress clothing, or at least no open-toed shoes. Drop a KitchenAid on your foot once, guarantee you will never do it again. Listen, dude, we don't work here. We're trying to shop, so leave us alone. And I took my friend by the arm and we headed down towards another aisle. We need to leave.
Employees shouldn't be allowed to shop during store hours. It doesn't make it fair for the customers since you get all the huge discounts.
We do not get huge discounts at our store. We get 20%, which is just 10 extra over customer discounts. We ignore him and start looking for an open register. Guy is following us the whole time, going on about how all young people working retail were rude and lazy and that they were why the economy was so bad. When we found an open register, I slung the basket of wands onto the counter and made eye contact with the clerk. It was the one we saw earlier.
Did you ladies find everything else all right?
Oh, yes, we did. Too much. And I hooked my thumb behind me as the guy followed us into the line.
You need to call the manager right now. Your coworkers are the most disrespectful girls I have ever been serviced by.
Yes, he actually used those terms. The clerk looked confused and shook her head, telling him we didn't work there. He threw his hands in the air and yelled,
"You have two very rude employees. They refuse to help me, refuse to wear the name badges, and why are they out of uniform?"
"Sir, neither of them work here. They work at the kitchen store across the way." The guy glared at the manager and took the glass vase we had helped him find and slammed it on the counter. It broke. He didn't even seem to notice though, so props for his commitment to being a jerk.
I have never had worse customer service, and I went to China once. How dare you let these little girls run rubshuck over you?
No one's running anything. I was going to just ask you to leave, but since you broke merchandise, you're gonna have to pay for that.
As if this place is a joke.
That may be, sir, but you're going to have to pay for that. And he waved over a security guard. The guy was quickly ushered out of the line and down towards their office. The manager turned around with a sigh. "Hey, is that all you guys are getting?" We nod. "Here, give them my discount. You guys always have that hot sauce I like." We thank him and the clerk and head out to the car to decompress before going to find that park. We went through 3 wands in that afternoon, and I kept a whole box of the hot sauce under the register for the craft store manager. Okay, first off, I really like their idea of what fun is, because all they really need is just to hang out and just do stupid stuff, and that's fun for them, and I really appreciate that. Second, while I'm not gonna deny that that guy was obviously sexist to a large degree, but I feel like it's not sexist to say, "Hey, I'm looking for a thing for my wife, and you guys are women too, so maybe you can help me out." Plus, I don't think it's inaccurate, much less sexist, to say that more women tend to have an eye for aesthetics and decor as opposed to guys. However, that guy definitely flipped it around and ensured that that girl was not wrong. God, that was bad. This story's called Neon Karen Thinks I'm a Nurse. For a little background, I would explain that I suffer from a rare disease. I am literally 1 in a million, and I visit the hospital a lot. Not the emergency room, but the outpatient wing. For the past 2 years, I had follow-up visits and other appointments, like MRI, x-rays, blood testing, almost every 2 weeks. It can sound weird, but rare diseases never come alone, and mine loves company. What I mean is that I have a lot of secondary conditions or comorbidities caused by having a rare disease. and every one of these conditions is treated by a different specialist, hence the many visits I've had this past 2 years. Now, it's almost settled down since my internist is the one doing the follow-ups. About myself, I will say that I am of African descent, although my mom is the whitest of white women in the world. So I am what some people call white passing, although I've been mistaken for other ethnicities a lot, like Arabic, Roma, or Maghrebi. Also, I always wear black or really dark colors and my head shaved because one of the comorbidities. I also have PTSD because of being treated like a liar, a drug seeker, or mentally ill for years. About the hospital, well, it's a mess. It was built like a very luxurious hotel, and out of the blue, they turned it into a public hospital, which means tons of renovations that turned it into a maze. The staff get lost even though it has been opened for several years now. And now to the first I Don't Work Here Lady story. A week ago, I was at the hospital looking for the internist's office. It was my first time seeing this particular doctor, so I arrived with plenty of time. My former internist has a very busy schedule, and she asked if I wanted to change specialist, so I went along with it. One may think that if those two specialists have the same specialty, their offices would be next to each other, right? Wrong. This mess of a hospital is arranged by departments. My former specialist is from the Systemic Autoimmune Disease Department, and the new one is from the Rare Diseases Department, so their offices are on different floors. I was as lost as Santa on Easter. I was looking around trying to find the place when a wild Karen appeared. I have nystagmus, which means I can't focus on moving objects, and I see them as blurring. All of a sudden, I see this fluorescent blob coming from my right side as a nightmare in neon.
What do you think you're doing?
This ball of bright pink yells at me. Excuse me? I was very confused.
What do you think you are doing?
Yells Neon Karen. There were so many thoughts running through my mind. Who is this lady? Why is she yelling at me? But most importantly, I was trying very hard to control myself since doctor's appointments trigger my PTSD, especially when I see a new doctor. PTSD can make me react in two opposite manners. I have a panic attack, or I am the most passive-aggressive bench you have ever come across. I think you have me mistaken for someone else, I said politely.
I know you very good,
answered Neon Karen.
I've seen you here a gazillion times.
And, what do you want? Maybe it sounded rude, but I was trying really hard not to panic.
What do I want? Why is my poor little baby waiting for the doc to see him when we have been here for ages?
The little baby is a teenager with a full-grown beard. I don't know. Why should I care? Confusion took away my anxiety.
Why?
The screech was so loud that I saw people in the waiting room covering their ears.
It's your job to tell the doctors we are here.
No, it's not. She interrupted me to make clear that she was better than me.
These filthy immigrants that come to our country to steal our jobs, claim our benefits, and don't even bother to learn the language.
I was baffled and pissed. The passive-aggressive bench was starting to show up. First of all, we are all speaking the same language. Second, I am a citizen. I was born in this country. And third, and most important, I am a patient.
No, you are not. I have seen you here a lot of times.
People waiting for their appointments were starting to pay attention to us. I must point out that the waiting rooms at this hospital are not proper rooms, but the corridors in front of the doctor's offices. So there I was in the middle of a corridor having this ridiculous argument with Neon Karen. Oh, since you have seen me here many times, I must work here. The impeccable argument. The sarcasm entered Neon Karen's head from one ear, passed undisturbed through her brain, and left from the other ear. Have you seen me in uniform? She hesitated for a while, but then started lying.
Of course, you wear one of those blue scrubs.
Really? Blue scrubs? Only emergency staff wears them. What is my position in this hospital?
You are one of those nurses at the front desk.
The people at the front desk aren't nurses. They are administrative clerks and don't wear scrubs but short lab coats.
See, you know the uniform, you work here.
Anybody with a brain can differentiate nurses from administrative clerks. Oh, that's probably why you can't tell them apart.
What do you mean?
I bursted into laughter, and I wasn't the only one. I'm sure the people in the waiting room were genuinely laughing. Mine was more like a nervous laughter, trying to calm down and don't let Neon Karen get on my nerves. Ma'am, I used the most condescending tone I am able to articulate. I don't work here. Even if I worked here, I would never help you.
You're lying and I'm gonna complain. You're gonna get fired.
Her face was as pink as the tracksuit she was wearing. A tracksuit I am sure has never seen a gym or any kind of exercise in its long life. Good luck trying to fire someone that does not work here. At this point, almost everybody in the corridor is laughing loudly.
Why is everyone laughing? Stop laughing!
Now her face was brighter than the tracksuit. Even her son was laughing. He tried to placate her since a voice on the speakers was compelling the people in the waiting room to remain quiet. He even apologized to me. "I'm so sorry. My mom gets very upset when I have to visit the doctor," he said. "By the way," I asked him, "which department is it?" "Dermatological and venereal diseases." As I said before, lost as Santa on Easter. I was about to thank him when Neon Karen interrupted me again.
Why are you asking? You should know.
For the last time. "I don't work here!" I started to walk away, trying to focus on looking for the rare diseases department, or at least a real staff member that could help me. I was fuming but trying to stay calm since abrupt changes in my blood pressure can be dangerous. All of a sudden, I see a black object coming from my back and crashing into the floor in front of me. It was a mobile phone.
How dare you turn your back on me?
There is only one thing that can make me switch from passive-aggressive to full-on aggressive, and that is physical violence.
Listen here, you motherfucking bench! If you try to hit me again, I will beat you into a pulp! I don't work here! I never did! But even if I did, you are not entitled to treat anyone like crap! Who do you think you are? You are nothing but a piece of trash that thinks that everybody owes you something, when in reality, you are the one that should be grateful for not having been beaten! I was feeling my heart beating in my head. I started feeling dizzy. My vision was blurring, and I could hardly hear anything. I don't remember much from this point on because I fainted. It is called a syncopal episode. When I recovered consciousness, security was there. Also, a couple of nurses were taking care of me and trying to put me on a stretcher. I was already wearing a cervical collar and had a sphygmomanometer on my arm. Neon Karen was fake crying and complaining about me. I didn't hear what she said, but I heard another patient telling security that she was lying. "I know," answered one of the security guys. "That's why we're here. We saw everything through the cameras." Neon Karen was stubbornly sticking to her lies and started mumbling something along the lines of,
She was rude to me. She's a freaking more of crap. She should get fired.
Then one of the nurses, who I know from previous visits, says,
She does not work at this hospital.
Neon Karen, being the empty-spaced head that she has shown to be, asked,
If she doesn't work here, why have I seen her every time I came here? Because she is a patient and hospitals are full of them,
answered the nurse.
Well, then you shouldn't let people like her wander around the hospital. What if we caught whatever she has? I don't want to be a bald bench.
You already have an empty head. If you shaved your head like I did, your outside would match your insides. I could not shut my mouth. It was too easy. She was about to reply when one of the security guys interrupted her to inform her that she was being arrested. Instead of being a rational human being, Neon Karen started yelling that she was being assaulted by security. It took 2 security guys to get her cuffed. When police arrived, I was on a stretcher with a cervical collar, and yet she was claiming to be the victim. I was sent to the ER, so I didn't know what happened until much later. The story went as follows. Police retrieved all the security footage, and since the incident happened in a public space, she was immediately charged with aggravated disruption of public order and aggravated assault. Picking up a fight in a hospital and assaulting a disabled person are aggravated circumstances in my country. I didn't have to press charges, but I will be called called to court as a victim. But that is not the funny part of the story. When I was in the ER, the nurse I know came to visit and told me the whole thing. In every hospital in the region, we are talking about 50 hospitals, there is a machine at the entrance of every outpatient area. When you leave the elevator or the staircase, this machine greets you with a really big sign on its screen that reads, "Before you enter the waiting room, please let us know you are here." When you get closer to it, you can see a smaller sign that reads, "Please enter your health service card in the slot," and an arrow pointing to the slot. After the machine reads your card, it tells you which office is your doctor's, and your name appears on a monitor above the doctor's office. Basically, this machine is like a clock-in system. Guess what? Neon Karen never put the card in the slot. What the nurse heard from her poor son is that they arrived late to the appointment, and her mother assumed that the kid's name would already be on the list. Apparently, she did it on purpose. Neon Karen thought that the names show on the list at the time of the appointment, not at the very moment the card is put in the slot. Her son told her she was wrong, and other people in the waiting room told her so, when she started complaining that her kid's name was not on the list. I asked for the kid. He looked like a nice person despite being raised by Neon Karen. The nurse told me that he was still a minor, despite the beard, and they called his dad. His parents were divorced, and Neon Karen had custody. His dad came to take care of him. Apparently, his many visits to the hospital were because he had a venereal disease, but did not want to tell his mother. But since he is a minor, she was present at every doctor's appointment, so he did not tell the doctors about his problems down there. In the end, a doctor figured out what was happening, and he was sent to a venereal specialist. At the end, I did miss my appointment, but I was rescheduled for next week. I hope this time I do not find another Neon Karen. I'm always so impressed at people who learn English as a second or third language or so on, and they write these really long stories, and they're actually very well written. Definitely better than a lot of stories written by native English speakers, so I'm always so impressed. But anyways, I don't have much to say other than that, Neon Karen, horrible mother, horrible person, just bad, yeah. And our Redditor here actually really blew up on her, so that was pretty cool. My voice is gone though. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode.